Hi, my name is Bekah. Welcome to my video series, Everyday English Every Day. Today, we're talking about NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. We're gonna listen to a conversation I had with a woman named Jo, who has been working in this field for many years. We're gonna talk about clean language, the questions that are involved in this approach. And for a little more, we're gonna talk about the expression to dig deeper. Subscribe to my channel, give my videos a like, please ask me questions or make comments or use the new vocabulary we're gonna practice together in your own sentences. Add them to the comments and I can review them for you. Okay, so let's talk about what this is. Neuro-linguistic programming is a psychological approach that can help people reach a personal goal. Personal goal might be like increased productivity or maybe a promotion at work. It connects thoughts, right? Thoughts, language, and patterns of behavior. It focuses on the dynamics between the mind and language and how their connection affects our body and behavior, right? Our programming. I'm super into learning about how to program my body, my brain, my words, right? To show that I'm in control of my thoughts. And this is an approach that we can use to help gain control. Now, it's also been applied as a therapy for psychological disorders like phobias, right? When you have a phobia, you're scared of something. Arachnophobia is a fear of spiders. Depression, right? When we feel depressed. Anxiety disorders, right? Anxiety means that we are, I guess, anxious, nervous about things, or even in post-traumatic stress disorder cases. So it can be used to reach personal goals, but it's also used as a therapy for some disorders. Okay, so there's an arm of NLP actually, called Clean Language. So I want to review the questions that it uses that you can ask yourself, to kind of work through different issues you may have. So the first thing is maybe, what is the issue? Okay, so we could say the issue is the problem. Maybe someone has limiting beliefs that hold them back. They don't think they're capable or able to do things better in life, okay? So once they have that, they have some kind of limiting belief. Then we say, with regards to this issue, is there anything else about it that's important to express? So think about whatever issue you have and how it's connected to other things in your life. Does it remind you of someone? Do you remember someone kind of creating this issue in your life, right? It's really time to reflect on what's the problem and how is it connected to other things in your life? Then, and what would you like to have happen? Okay, so let's say I have a limiting belief that I don't think I can get the job that I want to have. Well, what would you like to happen? What kind of job would you want to have? You have to really think about what you want in order for you to have it happen, right? So you really got to get clear about your goals. I have a great video about that I talked with my friend Virginia about getting clear with your goals. I put the link in the description, so be sure to check it out. And then what happens? When you are changing this issue, what happens next? Okay, so let's pretend these limiting beliefs, you can get rid of them. What would that look like for you? Would you go interview at different companies? Would you send your resume to different places? What would be happening in your life if you didn't have this issue? And what kind of is that? Okay, right? Is this kind of, how do you feel in this? Think about it more, right? Are you working in a different country because you got a job that you really love somewhere else and you're using English every day at work? The idea is you can't just think, oh my goodness, I have this problem. You have to really figure out the root, right? And really take the time to ask yourself these questions to help yourself move on. Okay, so I'm going to talk with Joe a little about some of these things. Let's review some phrases from our conversation. So let's practice them together. Repeat after me. Based on, quite specific, where the problem is rooted, people who are resistant, to contemplate what they actually want, them to stay the same, everything around them to shift. Okay, let's listen to our conversation together. Remember, when you hear these phrases, pause the video and repeat them again.
Arm of NLP called Clean Language. Mm-hmm. And that's based on a series of questions that are quite specific. And by the answers that people give, you can tell where the problem's rooted, whether it's in identity or, you know, whatever. Again, it's a definite set of things, and which leads you on to your next question. It's a sequence, and that is very effective, and that's great for people who are resistant, because the first question is, and for example, what would you like to have, you know, and or if they don't know, and what would you like to have happen? And that gets them to actually contemplate what it is that they actually want, you know.
Right, to the deeper level of what it is.
Yeah, because, you know,
you think, oh, I want change, but what does that change really look like? Or I want it to be different.
Are you, you know, God, that's the other big thing that you come up against is, you know, people wanting things to be different, but not being prepared to make necessary changes. You know, they just want things to stay to stay the same, everything around them to actually shift, you know, and we know
we're only in control of our own changes. Right.
So it gives a framework to work in. It's very well worth looking at. The guy that
all right, so let's look at some of the stuff from our conversation a little more. Okay, it gets them to contemplate what it is they actually want. Now, when you contemplate, you think over something. So you can't just, you know, say, oh, I want this to happen. You really need to figure out, like, the process of it happening. You really have to be clear about what it means. Another thing you come up against, people wanting things to be different, but not being prepared to make the necessary changes. They want them to stay the same and everything around them to shift. Okay, this is interesting, right? Right? People want change. They don't want to do the work and make the changes. They want everything else to shift, to change around them. That's not how it works, right? It would be awesome if it did work that way, right? It'd be easier, but we need to do the work inside of ourselves to make changes happen. And these questions give a framework to work in, right? A framework is like a guide for you to follow. Let's go back and just look and talk about when something is based on something. I can say this movie was based on this book. So when something is based on something, it like comes from there. Something that's quite specific is very specific, right? It's not vague in general. It's very particular, right? There are specific questions they use in this type of therapy. It really gets to where the problem is rooted. So remember that idea of the root. The root holds a plant or a tree in the ground. So we need to get to the base of the problem, to where it started, so we can actually fix something. When someone's resistant, they're like not open, okay? So people, want change, like we said, but they're resistant to make any changes in their own lives. What do you think? What's something you want to change in your life? Okay, let's look at our expression, dig deep. When you dig deep, you make a lot of effort with all of your resources, with everything available to you. When you dig deep, you look inside yourself and see your potential, and using all you have to reach your goals, to live out your values, and to overcome obstacles, right? So you can dig deep to get to the root of a problem. You can dig deep and figure out what you really want and try to live to your potential, right? Really being closely connected to what your values are and what you really believe in. I was so tired during the game that I really had to dig deep to keep playing, okay? It really had to take a lot of, make an effort, right? I am digging deep and making a lot of changes in my life. So it's not just on the surface, it's really getting deep down when you dig deep. All right, guys, keep up the great work. Be sure, if you like my videos, to give it a like, subscribe to my channel. New videos are posted on Monday and Wednesdays and sometimes Thursdays. Comment below, ask me questions, feel free to email me. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope to see you soon. Keep practicing, keep learning, keep growing and expanding. Bye-bye.